everyone, Shikha this side. I'm back with a tutorial for an art journal video. So as you can see, this is one of the art journal which I have created last month. It's a flat lay, no stitch art journal, and one of my friend was curious to know how I created it, and then I got a few more requests so to create a video on how I created it. So here I am with a quick tutorial. So my earlier art journal was for a little less than 6 by 6, but this time I will be creating a 4" by 5 3 by 3.5" art journal. I did started with a plan with a little over 4" page or creating the signatures, but then I later on changed my mind because I was not able to get it right. Right now I am using Bristol smooth paper from Brustro, and this is 250 GSM. So that will be one of my recommendation for making this kind of art journal. Always use some sturdy paper. It can be a watercolor paper, it can be a Bristol paper, it can be cardstock, but make sure that it's above 200 GSM paper, because even I have not tried it for pages lower than 200 GSM. So I'm not sure whether it will stay put or not, because it's a no stitch art journal. So preferably go for anything above 200, and recommended is 250 GSM or 300 GSM. So this one is 250 GSM, and now I have created 20 signatures, and what I'm doing now is I'm just working on the cover for the pages. So for cover I am using 300 GSM watercolor paper because that was lying in my stash, and I was like, okay, that's good. So I picked it up. Yeah. So what I'm doing now is I am working on sticking the pages together. So from one side I made sure that one of the side is smooth and plain as possible, and then I use the paper binder and stick the paper down, and then I am applying the first layer of glue, very thin layer of glue, and I'm using hand so that I have a quick feedback that I have applied an even layer on the seam. Yes, finally we can call it seam now that it's been glued. So yeah, so once that is done, I will apply another layer. The aim is to apply 3 thin layer of glue while we have binded the clips on 3 sides. Now I have let it put it away for drying and working on the seam cover, which is my discarded or used wet wipe cloth. As you can see, it's from one side wet wipe can be easily broken, but on the other side it's not easy to tear it off. So from that side I will be sticking it on. If you are wondering why I'm using a cloth for sticking on the seam, that is because once the cloth is stuck and when we are opening the book or our journal, the cloth will move inside and it will allow the page to lay flat on the surface. I will show you in the end. So what I'm right now doing is I'm decorating this wet wipe with, or you can say I'm customizing this wet wipe, because we don't get text written multicolor designer cloth on crafting website. So I have to get creative about it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just because the middle section didn't have any color, so I'm just putting some color on top of the wet wipe, and I dried it as much as can, but there's still some space left for it to get fully dry, so I just left it on a side and started working on the cover. And I have marked them as front and back, and now I'm working on making the design for the cover. So here I'm using Dress My Crafts Botanical Scripts pattern paper in 6x6. So I will be cutting this in 3x5, which will be quite smaller than the actual page. The idea is to use the background's butterfly pattern as background, and on top of that I will be using this pattern paper. By the time this video was created, I have not added any saying or quote to the page, so probably once I'll decide something, I'll stick it on top of the front cover. So right now I'm just trimming everything down to the size of the art journal cover. So once I am happy with how everything has aligned and the seam has dried, the glue on the seam has dried and the wet wipe is dried, I am now sticking it down to the seam. So I've cut it down to the almost like exact size which I want, and then I'm just putting it down. I'll first put the glue on this page and stick the wet wipe on it, or the dried wipe, or the cloth. Let's call it the cloth. And now I'm putting a generous amount of glue on the seam. This is important because we want this cloth to stick pretty well to the page without leaving any gaps. So again, I have put the paper binders on the cloth along with the cloth and leave it aside for drying. And now I'm working on the decoration of the covers. Once the base layer is stuck down, what I'm doing is I'm just distressing the edges with vintage photo for both the covers. And I have distressed the pattern paper with the frayed burlap, which is dirty green, and these days I have fallen in love with the frayed burlap, so you will see me sneaking it wherever I get the chance. I love vintage photo, I do love it, but I think it is very unfair for other colors if we are not using them for distressing the edges or for highlighting. Okay, now I'm sticking the covers down on the page. Because the seam is still a little dry, I am not opening it fully right now, but I'm making sure that I'm sticking the covers only to the last page or the first page of the book, of the art journal. And yeah, give it an even pressure. And here it is, guys. This is the art journal handmade no stitch book which I have created, and having the cloth and the seam which is customized by me is really good. And now you can see that when we open the book, the cloth went inside and the paper lay flat. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.